So Brian, we were just talking about before we hit the record button about consistency, and obviously like that's everybody needs to be consistent. When it comes to reaching their goals and being successful, it's the tortoise versus the hare. As long as you're consistent, you're going to be successful. Would you mind talking a little bit, Brian? Because you've recently, got that spark back, right? That consistency, that routine where you're showing up, you're working out again. But it wasn't like that a few months ago. Would you mind talking about like I guess for starters, like what kind of led to you getting in a funk and falling off track?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously I crushed the 13-week challenge or whatever you want to call it. When I first joined Heartletics, I crushed it out of the park. I did really well consistently. And then uh I started off just not even I just doing body weights, and then I transferred to the gym throughout the process. So I grew in that aspect. And then fast forward a little over a year later, we were in the middle of kind of, getting ready to sell our house, buying a new house, and then having a baby kind of all at once. So there's a lot going on, a lot of projects I had to go on. And then I kind of just I let the nutrition and the working out, taking care of myself, I let that slide a lot. And then what happens is, like I think like you said, everything is it's a routine. So if you get into a routine, good or bad, that's your new routine. So um part of me, the hard part for me was the getting back on track was, breaking some of those new bad habits that I had created. And then some of it I think was fear as well. So I think it was fear of, oh man, I haven't been in the gym now for this X amount of time. Are people going to judge me? Am I my workout's going to suck? So I mean, so kind of all those things are kind of going together. And I just realized one day, after just constant communication with the group, coach, you obviously, you, and then Jeremy, just constantly, like, on me about, hey man, you can do this, basically for motivation. But basically I just realized I just need to start doing something. It doesn't matter um whether I have the motivation or not. I just need to start doing things for myself. And so that's kind of what I started doing. I just basically said, okay, day one, let's go. I'm going to get up at this time. I'm going to try to make a new routine now of getting up early instead of just, allowing the bad wolf to win and say, hey, you're tired, just stay in bed. So I started doing that. And then last week I got in the gym 4 days. And this week I've already got in the gym 2 days. And I'm planning on going, another 3 days this week. So and then the first week sucked, man. I mean, it was hard. I mean, I was sore and I was like, man, do I but this week it's been a lot better so far. The DOMS hasn't been as bad as it has been previously. Um, and then it kind of reminded me, I was reading the story yesterday about this coach who said, like, she works with some kids, and she was talking about she had gone to a football practice and these kids were just dragging. They were just not energetic, not having a good time. They were all cranky. It's like they didn't even want to be there. And so basically the coaches got together and started firing the kids up, started making it fun. And then by the end of the practice, the energy completely changed. They were running around and they were like on fire. They were just having fun. They were uh back to where you should be when you're playing like a sport like football. And so that's kind of what I realized is you have to create your own energy. It's not going to always be there for you. You're not going to always be fired up and energized to go do this. But I realized if you just start moving, like the energy comes after that. It's like it flows as soon as you start doing something. So I feel like my recommendation for anybody is, like, if you're in a funk, go do something, and I promise you the energy will follow.
Yep. Yep. And you can either create the energy yourself, or you can simply, be surrounding yourself, right? Because you mentioned those kids, right? They're on a team. And I'm
Yeah.
sure like one kid got happy, more energized, and then other people did. And then it kind of like snowball effect where you obviously know, like if you ever walk into a room and you're like, man, there's some tension here, right? It's
Yeah.
energy, right? Or you walk in a room and everybody's having a great time and you instantly feel better about yourself. It's energy, right? And so, it's actually a cool story because yesterday I had a conversation with one of our previous members of Heartletics, and he actually just got signed right back up. And he mentioned that every single day, he's like, man, he's like, I thought I could do this all on my own, but he's like, I miss the community so much. He's like, even just in the training log, seeing this person did their workout, this person did this workout and crushed their PRs. He's like, it gave him that fuel to the fire to just say, okay, if they're doing it, I got to do it too. It motivated him, it inspired him, where that's what led to obviously him wanting to come back, right? He missed that. Now, that's the community aspect, just similar to those kids. But we all need to kind of figure out, right, what works best for us is like, how do we create our own energy? You know, how do we like develop a better habit or consistency or anything like that? And what I always like to say is like this is like it's kind of like on repeat almost, but it's like get your body moving and your mind will follow. Because there's going to be plenty of days where you don't want to show up, you don't want to put in the work, you had a bad night's sleep, you're sick, you're injured, whatever the case may be. You know, plenty of excuses that the bad wolf's going to feed you, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, the one that you feed the most is the one that wins. So as long as we just say, okay, what can we do to just get our body moving, our mind's going to follow. And we're going to be more, better off making better decisions. Um, I know there's a few people here that, also want to chime in on all this because this is a great topic, honestly, about building better consistency, building better habits. Mike, why don't we go to you next, man? Like, what makes you, I guess, show up, right? What makes you work out? What makes you just stay more consistent?
So, I mean, over my 2 years since I started, that source has changed. At first it was, hey, I just wanted to be better for my family. That got me started, but now this is just me. This is what I do. It's my lifestyle. It's my routine. I don't even think about getting up and going to the gym. There's no battle with the bad wolf. I'm getting up and going to the gym today.
Yeah. Yeah. What if this happens though? Let's say I'll give you two scenarios, okay? Because you've been in the game for a minute. So you obviously have this unshakable mindset, which I love. But let's say first scenario is you break your arm. What happens then?
I got legs. I can still work out.
I love it. I love it. Kind of like Coach Mark, right? He's in the cast right now, still doing his legs.
Yep.
Let's Jeff, I love that fire emoji thing. At first I thought it was a computer, and then I was like, wait, he just held it up himself. If you go look at Jeff's screen, he's got this little fire emoji that I love. Okay, scenario two though. Okay. Let's just say that you're in a funk, man. Right? Like I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news, but let's say like all hell breaks loose, right? Like you get in a divorce, right? Your like family left you, you lost your job. Like we're talking like Job in the Bible bad, right? Like it's not fun at all. What happens then?
Needed. Honestly, the working out and that's my stress relief. So I would still do it. I mean, perfect example. Last year, my mom died suddenly, right?
Yeah.
I was in the gym working through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you mastered Heartletics, honestly. You definitely have, Mike, because you said it best. It's my stress relief, right? So it's like sometimes you use the gym as a stress relief, sometimes you use the gym as like that escape, sometimes you use the gym as like that building block, right? But like it always works on you. And I think you also understand that, like, when you fill up your cup, when you focus on you, you become better, your family becomes better, the people around you become better, you know? So I love
Yep.
that. Jeff, let's go to you next, man. Jeff G. What helps you stay consistent, brother?
Well, I think the first one was the major mindset change in focusing on filling my cup first, right? And then that led into, yeah,
Pause real quick, Jeff. Don't want to interrupt, but were
no.
you always consistent, or was this just like a new season of life since joining Heartletics? I guess
Oh,
like,
this is all new. It used to be wake up, log on, jump into the work fires, right? It's like now I'm focusing on myself first.
yeah,
I'm getting started. I'm going into my morning routine, right? My different exercise, my gratitude, my daily intentions. I set the day. I start checking. I'm checked 3 or 4 boxes before I really even started doing anything, and then that just kind of keeps that positive momentum going for me throughout the day. I structure some things, but I still get the things done that I need to that day, right? That's kind of helps keep me focused. I kind of break up all my macros, my water, my exercise, everything into small little chunks, and just keep monitoring throughout the day until I get there.
how did we get there though? Right? Like how did this Jeff form compared to the old Jeff? Because with anybody, whether it's somebody here at Heartletics when they first got started, or whether it's somebody watching this on YouTube or listening on a Spotify, right? Like they want to know how to get to that. And like I'm curious, right? How did you get to that also? Because that's hard to do, where you have to change up your whole entire lifestyle, change up your whole entire routine, and almost make like this night and day difference. So I want to know like what are some tips that were like led to you getting to where you are not now?
Yeah, I started with the mental habits and the physical habits, and then just breaking them down individually, one by one, and on what I needed to do. Listen to all the coaching, right? Listen to all the other guys on this call on things that they've done to help get them there. And then I'm just a sponge, right? I'm watching all your videos, I'm watching other things, I'm doing audio books, like things I would have never done before, right? It's like, and I look forward, I enjoy it now. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And would you also say that maybe the reason why it's because your health's a priority to you and you've already
oh,
seen
absolutely.
a lot. How much weight have you lost so far, Jeff?
22 pounds in what, 4 months?
Yeah, that's a good chunk of change, man.
Yep.
And would you say that the physical transformation has been just as good as the mindset transformation, or would you say the mindset outblows that physical transformation any day of the week?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably more so mindset. I feel like a completely different. I mean, the physical is a balance, right? Right. I'm working out, I'm losing weight, but the mindset has been the biggest one for me.
I love that. I love that. Gabe, let's go to you next, man. Same thing, same question, right? We want to go around the room. What helps you guys stay consistent? What helps you guys develop these habits? Like, what helps you put one foot in front of the other? Just as Brian started off with, hey, my hardest thing was just getting to the gym. That was it. But once you're able to get there, hey, your body moves, your mindset follows. It's a lot easier to stay on course. Gabe, what is some golden nuggets you can share?
Well, um, I've noticed that it's like my body and how I treat it is a direct reflection of my world and where I'm trying to get to. And I've noticed that when I dedicated more time to myself and I dedicated more time to, both mindset and health and spiritual, it has such an impact on everything, on my family, on myself, on my business. I've noticed that when I'm on my A game, when I say my A game is that I'm consistent with all my habits, I'm consistent with my, my nutrition, my sleep. When all those things are consistent, there is such a deep impact on everything that surrounds me, right? And then when things, like you said, when things do get hard, they're not as hard as they were before, because you're so built up, you're so on point, and you're sharp, your mind is sharp, you feel good. And the other thing too is, I mean, one thing that gets me up every day is I like to have this confidence. I like fitting into my clothes. I like to look that way. It gives me that confidence, right? And people see that. Being a leader where I'm at, it's not easy. It comes with so much burdens and so much stress and so much challenges. But when the ship is rocking, the storm is here, but you're calm and you're collective and you're just trying to, iron out some things, solve some issues, and everybody's looking at you like, why aren't you freaking out? Why aren't you running like, the ceiling is falling or the sky is falling? And because the sky is not falling, this is just another challenge. So that's what kind of gets me going, is knowing that this is all directly related to myself and where I want to be. So if I want to get to that, next level, I have to stay consistent. I have to do those things. And at times it is a big struggle to, getting up at 4:30 in the morning. That ain't fun, dude. I don't know who made that up, but that ain't fun at all. But man, does it feel good, right? You hit the gym, you got your water in, your nutrition is already down packed. You already know what you're going to do for that day. You're already attacking the day. You're stacking wins while everybody's still sleeping.
Yeah.
That's definitely an edge. It helps me tremendously in my days, in my craziness. So when I don't feel like going, um, I literally fight myself, and it's really a mental battle. And I just remember that I burned those boats. I am not going back to that old Gabe. I'm not going back to overweight, laziness, right? So like, especially now since I'm back on vacation, I'm back on my routine. So it feels so good to be back in routine. It just feels like I already made wins and already took a step towards where I'm trying to get to before I got there. And that's really what it is. And then it's really addicting. Once you start doing it and you start seeing that, that it's not even, okay, yeah, do I want a six pack ab and, you know, look shredded and whatnot? Of course, no, everybody wants that. But after you're done with that workout, you do feel good. You not only do you feel like you accomplished something, but you feel good. You feel good from that workout. So that's in itself is very rewarding. But it's all encompassing. So it not only does it impact you, it radiates beyond you to your family, to your to your work life. All those things have a huge change. So that's why I do it. I do it because I'm trying to change, and the only way to change is changing me first.
I love that, man. It's a chain of effect, right? You
Yeah.
stay consistent, right? That consistency builds to what? Discipline. That discipline, right, eventually leads to you seeing and feeling changes, which leads to confidence. Next thing you know, when you look good, you feel good, you do good. Hey, that embraces more leadership skills, right? Because people, right, they're going to look at you as authority now. They're going to look at it as like, man, this guy respects himself to be consistent, show up, right, work out, put in the work. Like that's work ethic, and I feel like unfortunately that's something in the society that we lack nowadays, and I
Yep.
feel like that's why I really want to embrace like that Heartletics mindset of like, hey, like when you put in the work right in yourself, change your body, change your mind, everything changes also. But it's because you're filling up your work cup to actually be that asset to pour more out into others, a lot of benefits to all that. David, let's go to you next, brother. What are some ways that you like to stay consistent and, on top of everything with your workouts?
Well, a few things. First, I have to have the mindset ready because the storm's going around me. No matter what I'm doing, I got to stay calm in that front. And being consistent in doing the workouts, the mindset, the gratitude, the reflection, the spiritual, all of these things culminate into your calmness. And that calmness is consistency in the workouts, the going out, being productive in what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And where did the mindset shift kind of come from, or how did that develop, or how did that get easier for you? Because somebody might, be hit with all those storms that you just kind of mentioned. Maybe it's stress at home, stress at work, whatever, right? And they're dealing with some struggles. And you mentioned that work on that mindset helps you through those challenges. How'd you develop that mindset? What has worked for you?
Something changed as in the perspective that I was looking at it. And my mindset changed with the perspective of, hey, people are going through this. So let's see if we can change the perspective of more of a gratitude, a reflection, a spiritual thing, and learn from their bad habits to turn it into a good habit for myself, because of there are so many people out there that'll cut you off on the road, stuff like that, and I just let them go. It's more of learning how other people are going to treat you and learning how to take care of yourself and inside that storm.
I got you. Yeah, it's like you're looking at the glass being half full rather than half empty. And I actually heard this quote because you mentioned about like, other people as well. I heard this before that if you took your problems and threw them into a big pile and everybody, right, in the world also took their problems and threw it into the same pile, you would be the first person to grab your problems and take them right back.
Agree.
Because sometimes we don't know, right, how hard other people actually have it also. They might have it 10 times harder, but it's also how we see it as a perspective. I like that. Brennan, I see that you're back, brother. Let's go to you next, man. What are some ways to kind of, like leads to your consistency, leads to you require better habits and just help you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was saying earlier, I thought that it was automatic. No, it's not automatic. It feels automatic because the way that I set it up. So, when I get up in the morning, the night before, I've taken whatever clothes that I'm going to wear to the gym and I've put them in the bathroom so that it just change right after I get up and go to the restroom. The shoes are already set out, in front of the chair. I go ahead and put those on. My keys are set right there. The energy drink I'm going to have, the water I'm going to have is all set right there, and it's out the door. You know, and then I've changed the mindset. It's not anymore about today is a gym day, tomorrow's not. Every day is a gym day. It's just, and that I guess that's why it does feel automatic. Is I've changed that mindset that we do this every day. Everything's always going to be set. Uh, you know, even with the nutrition, the food's all prepared weekly. So, you know, you go to the refrigerator, you've got Ziploc bags of turkey this, turkey that, vegetables. You throw it in and you take it to the office, and you know, it just makes everything easy. And it feels automatic, but you've actually prepped and done it all to make it that way.
Yeah. I'm writing this down right now because you said something very key there. You know, for starters, I want to give credit where credit's due because you practice the 5 P's, right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance, right? So guys, always remember that, the 5 P's. But I want to go into your mindset a little bit, Brendan, because you know what I wrote down is like, hey, you take the time to prep, you take the time to prepare. You mentioned about laying out your clothes. That requires discipline, right? That requires discipline. I'm sure there's Netflix on or a game or hey, kicking it, having a few drinks, right? Like where we had to cut out some corners, right? We had to stop doing some things because of this right here. And I know it's a priority to you, right? You realize here that when you prepare, you're going to be successful. What I want to know is like, where do you feel like people they don't get here? They don't get to that prepared time. They don't get to that discipline yet because maybe either one, it's not a priority to them, or maybe they don't have the right mindset. I guess like what helped you get there that could share some light to others?
Well, I think when the idea just pops in your head, I need to do this to get prepared, I just say, do it now. You know, not do it at this time or whatever, just do it now. So the idea of I'm going to set the clothes out, you know, as soon as it pops into my head, if it's downstairs where the washer is in the basement, or if it's in the drawer, whatever, I just go grab it and I set it in there, and make it easy. But you know, it when I think about it, and I guess in my business, if I'm thinking about something, because I'll be in 42 boxes all at once, and if I'm doing something and I don't do it then, it probably doesn't happen or it gets done wrong. I had that going on this morning. I was needed to do a credit. I was writing a check out to somebody, and I started doing 3, 4 other things, and I wrote the check to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, but I noticed it and said, okay, I got to go back. But that's the whole thing, is you just got to stop and say, okay, we're going to do this right now. We're going to set this prep, and have it ready. I mean, but when it pops into your head, just do it.
Yep. So that's the missing key. And I want everybody to understand that. That is how you make a permanent change happen in your life. You don't give yourself a choice, you give yourself a decision. Okay. A choice is two different options. A decision, right? Decide, the Latin root word, the meaning behind that means to cut off, right? Sacrifice. So it's like you didn't give yourself an option, right? You said, hey, we're doing this now, you know? And because of that, you made a decision, which gets into your subconscious mind, right? In terms of like, okay, hey, this is a priority. We got to do it, you know? I remember, I think my teacher said this in school, high school, sophomore, I don't know when, but she would always tell us, hey, homework is due like the following day. And I remember somebody asked her, like, hey, why isn't it like due next week or anything like that? And she's like, because if I told you guys to do it all next week, you guys would wait until the night before to actually do it. And you wouldn't remember anything. But if I tell you that it's due tomorrow, it's a priority and you're going to be more incentivized to actually do it. And I remember that always kind of stuck with me, you know? But
Yep.
no, this is great, guys. I really appreciate the conversation for today. And if you're obviously somebody that maybe you're watching this on YouTube, you're listening on Spotify, and you're like, man, I want to come kick it with these guys. These guys are cool to talk to, right? Like we share some good topic points, some good, mindset conversations about consistency, about some habits. You guys can click on the link down below, find out some more about Heartletics and inside of our coaching program. But I appreciate everybody's time, just kind of sharing in terms of like what helps them out, what makes them stay more consistent.